I know Vicky's here, and I prepped her prior to the service. So, can I get a witness? Come on, you're supposed to do the. You know, there's a whole expression. Can I get a witness? Try that again. Just people were awake this morning. Can I get a witness?
Or what?
All right. You got nothing. All right. Audience participation is going to be necessary this morning, and to encourage it, I have chocolate and candy.
What get a witness?
There we go. There's the boot boot I'm getting. Yeah. The chocolate and candy.
Your witness
All right.
just right.
So yes, can I get a witness? Is the topic this morning.
That is weird that that's cutting you.
But first, we're going to review last week. We always review every time we start. We review what we've already learned and kind of build on it as we go along. Steve and I have actually been amazingly connected in our topics, rolling along, and we have not planned this. There's been no planning as far as the topics that we're going to do from week to week. He's got his own thing, and I've been doing my own thing on love, and he rolled it into Thanksgiving and the lepers and this story last week of the Samaritan woman, the living water. John 4, and the woman was Samaritan. Does anyone recall the other details of the story? Anyone who was here last week remember? She was thirsty. Well, actually, Jesus and her were thirsty.
Oh, with the water.
Right,
Well?
the water. Yeah, at the well. So she went to the well, and she was at a well at a kind of different time of the day because she was trying to avoid scrutiny. That's why she was alone. Normally, for safety, you would have a bunch of women going down to the well to grab water together. Safety in numbers. But she was alone, and the reason why she was alone is because she was an outcast. And she was an outcast in her own community, and Jesus happened to be there, sent his disciples into the town for food, met her there, and spoke to her need that she had. Being an outcast, being alone, she had a thirst in her life, and she was trying to fill it with relationships. And Jesus told her that about her life. She had 5 relationships with men that weren't her husband. And when Jesus told her that, she was astounded that he knew that detail about her life. And Jesus tells her that he is the living water. He is what she's thirsting for. And so, in hearing that, she immediately runs out, and you can't see it from the keyboard there, she runs out and tells her community. She goes out to witness to her community that this man Jesus, just outside of town at the well, has told her all these wonderful things, told her about her life, having never met her. And, because she was a Samaritan woman, like a Jewish man would have never talked to her. In fact, Steve mentioned that Jews would often take the long way around, the more difficult route, just to avoid going through Samaria, because they thought they'd actually be ceremonially unclean by just traveling through the land. So they just disliked Samaria so much. So I'm going to talk about today about the term witness. I'm using it as a verb. It's also a noun, referring to the person. As a verb, it's to see an event take place. Typically, if you watch a lot of Law and Order, it's a crime or an accident. And the person is there to give or serve evidence of, to testify to. Now, I don't think that's a common experience for all of us. Not all of us usually see a lot of crime or accidents take place. Anyone actually been a witness in a court for a crime or a accident? Christopher, you put up your hand? How did that go? Were you put on the stand, or did you just have to fill out a sheet of information reporting the event? Huh?
I went on the stand.
You went on the stand?
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I will ask you about that service. That's cool. I wasn't expecting anyone to have personal experience in regards to being a full witness. If I'd known that, I would have had you up here. So we have 3 sections, and this keyboard is really messing with my slides. The first would be testify to what? Question mark. I have witnesses in action, or the Acts of the Apostles. And the last would be the word on the street is you. So, turn on phrase. Immanuel Kant is a German philosopher, heralded kind of a precursor to any of the other modern philosophers that some might know, like Nietzsche and others. He says, "Seek not the favor of the multitude. It is seldom got by honest and lawful means, but seek the testimony of a few, and number not the voices, but weigh them." I'm just going to let that sit for just a couple seconds. Pretty deep quote. Anybody have any thoughts or ideas on what he's trying to convey there?
My thoughts are that it just takes a substantial amount of courage to be who you are, to say what you wish to say, and that I have noticed in my lifetime that the more crowds and the more numbers of people there are, the less there is that you hear. And more oftentimes than not, it is in those crowds that you'll be waiting for a voice when there is none but maybe God's talking to yourself. And when it says weigh the voices, it means just understand the courage coming from that voice to his focus.
Excellent. Thank you, Tom. It's Tom, right?
Ted.
Ted. Sorry, I'm back with this. Moving along here, we live in a world that is now connected, virtually every continent, every people group is connected by wires, radio waves, satellites, and communication is instant. And in the world that we live in, it seems to me that we're almost in direct opposition of Immanuel Kant's words of wisdom, in that all of our communication now is bent on expressing everything all the time, and it's fleeting, it's trivial, it's blithy opinions in the heat of the moment that often have to be retracted or re-explained in better light. We have more and more people, posting things and then having to edit them or take them back, and there's embarrassment attached to all in this seeking the appeal of the masses, right? We have to have more friends, more followers, more people that, you know, are hearing our opinion, are in agreement with our opinion, because, you know, as you're sharing it, you know, God forbid anyone disagree with you, you know, in this world. It's crazy how interconnected it is, and yet it is one that is isolated. I have a little test here, but first I need a volunteer to toss candy to people, because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Peter, you going to volunteer? You come here, there's a bag right there. Some caramels in it, you want to grab them and just toss to people.
Like, what do you want me to do?
Grab the caramels. Yep, alright. Okay, so this is my test. See if you're awake. Facebook, alright, Michael gets a prize. Or not. Just don't chuck them at people.
I don't chuck them.
Hand them out to
No.
people. I can chuck them at people from here too.
I throw them.
Twitter.
Twitter, alright, over there, there's a prize.
Oh, this is gonna be difficult.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
YouTube.
YouTube, alright, Ashley.
YouTube.
Yep, there we go.
Pinterest.
Alright, somewhere over there.
Pinterest.
I heard it.
Instagram.
Instagram, okay. Hear me?
Oh, I'm not throwing that far. Hey, people.
Skype. Skype. All right, we got Peter's here. This is. I'm getting
You said Skype
more
first?
obscure.
LinkedIn.
Hey, Adine. That one was for Adine. I knew he was on LinkedIn. He has to be my friend.
Almost.
WhatsApp.
That's the guy. What's that?
What was that one?
All right, I don't know if everyone can see that. This little ghost thingy, but
That's not Viber.
It's okay. Yeah,
You
but
can-
it's
you
fine.
can
I'm
share-
from a
Oh yeah, I'll just give it to you.
you
You
can
give
share
it
it.
to
You
someone.
can share it. Yeah, I put a few millennial ones in here too. All right, we have some rare ones. Anyone know what this one is? This is pretty rare. I had to dig deep into the world of social media to get this one.
Still exists?
It still exists. Yep.
If someone has an app store, go on it.
All right. Yeah. You can Google it if you want. It's actually called Xing. That's why there's a little X on the screen there. It is a business social network. I know we have some business professionals in the crowd, so I tried to use LinkedIn and Xing here for them. So it has jobs, it has seminars, and it has news related to your field. So it's very specific for those that are business minded. If you haven't heard of it, maybe you'll check it out. I'm just plugging it there. I'm not on the payroll, so there's no endorsement. Or royalties that I'm taking for endorsements. All right, last one. No? Anyone? This is almost worth like 2 or 3. Pretty. All right, this is Foursquare. Maybe you've heard of it. It's for food and entertainment. You just kind of post your opinions about food and entertainment, you know, and your friends can see it and you can share with your friends, and you kind of collectively meet in community, you know, around the places you like to visit, around entertainment and food. Anyways, so these are all, you know, the ways that we connect and the places that, you know, the apps that we use, if you will, to connect. So I have my first deep question of the day, and I hope to get some responses. Usually my questions are too rhetorical, and I'm working on that. But so the question is, I guess I just like. All right, benefits of living in digital age.
Communication. You get to, if you have friends, you know, over the seas, you can talk to them.
You don't have to spend hours browsing his Blockbuster video.
Hours. I miss hours.
Yes.
Every Friday night at like 6 o'clock, I was a regular at Blockbuster,
And you don't get fined for taking
and
movies.
you know, get fines.
Quick, it's very quick.
Quick. Accountability. There's more accountability or less accountability in a digital age. More accountability.
We can fact check things.
Yeah.
Knowledge, big database of knowledge that you think.
Here's the guy.
Knowledge, information age, as they refer to it. Excellent.
Quicker? Much quicker?
It's quicker. If you know how to use it, right?
I don't.
Steve McMillan was here. He would say it's not quicker. He was talking to me on Friday about how typing is with 2 fingers. So I do seem to be quicker.
You can travel around the world without leaving your seat.
You can travel around the world or gain an experience of the world without leaving your
You
chair.
go straight view, you can just
Yeah.
see.
You have a larger sphere of influence, right? You can reach more people, or you can stay connected with people.
Michael?
You can actually buy stuff that's cheaper online than you could in the store.
Oh, you're saying enterprise and the worldwide market online.
You can get updates on other people's lives without asking for it.
Is that under benefits or drawbacks? Let's have a vote here. I don't know. You are a Facebook creeper. Boom, you're outed.
That's a drawback.
You have a drawback?
People lie.
People lie.
Yeah, like you know, Facebook, like yeah.
People
lie
even
and,
lie on
They like
Facebook.
before too, then.
Yeah, they lied before, but it's easier to lie because you can't see them. So when you're talking to them, you don't know if they're like being honest, or maybe even just the sarcasm part, like you're being sarcastic and you're making a joke. You can't tell their tone of voice. So like, it's a drawback.
Yeah.
Not personal. The impersonal experience.
It levels the playing field in the media. We can all become content creators.
We're all content creators. We all have that access to intellectual property.
But and to display it
And to display it to the world.
We don't need a Times Magazine and Orchard.
That's why magazine sales are different. Yeah. All right. That is excellent. That is I just added that thing and I even forgot about it, but that's awesome. This is my big question. What would your social media accounts testify that is worth your witness, worth your testimony? So what would they say is the most important things to you that you are sharing? Take some time to ponder that. It's a pretty deep question.
Your signature.
Sorry?
Sorry, your signature.
Your signature?
Yes. You'd have to be there to write it. They'd have to see you write it. You'd have to see yourself write it. Then they'd say, did you sign it? So,
Anyone else? I'll leave some time for the big thinkers. I was going to put my own up there, but I couldn't get more than kind of one thing as a screen capture. So I was like, this isn't really going to suit. Going to get the top, 5 things.
Can you rephrase that question?
Can I rephrase the question?
Yeah, it's not really clear. to
If
me.
I was to put, Pinterest or Facebook up on the stand to testify on your behalf, what would they say is most important to you? If they were your character witness,
you're a right winger.
You have to belong to them in the first place.
you have to belong to. Yeah, there are people that probably
I'm not on
do
Facebook.
not, employ any social media, and I think that is we talked about that there's benefits and there's drawbacks. So obviously, the question understandably won't hit everyone, and if you're not using any social media, then you can replace the question with what would the 3 closest people to you say is your, is worth your witness. What is important to you?
I have that's me.
Okay.
My hobbies are extraordinarily important to me.
Your hobbies.
Apparently.
Yes, you're constantly giving testimony or giving sharing your experience of your hobbies,
Yes.
which are. What would you hear about?
Oh, okay. I collect a few things. I'm into home brewing, shooting, variety of things like that.
Michael?
I would have to say similar to that. I collect books.
So,
Books are my main priority and my importance.
so your posts on Facebook would say that you are a book lover or a book collector.
Because if you look at my Pinterest, it will be a curation of recipes, so on
Recipes?
baked goods and all those things. But
#foodie, right? If you're using Twitter, right?
But something that I'm wondering is that because the question relates more to what, to the fact that our identity will depend on what we post in the social media, but will it also be dependent on what we chose not to post? So both the presence and
Presence and absence, yes, but the absence is indefinable or unattainable to quantify because there's so much that you cannot post, right? And the select few that you do post say maybe more about you than what you don't. I don't know. I don't think it's an equal balance in that regards. This is just food for thought. I'm just trying to.
Just food for thought as somebody who also avoids all social networks.
Yes. Okay.
I would think that one interpretation could be that you value face-to-face communication.
You value face-to-face
So,
communication.
an interpretation of the absence.
yeah.
Well, I don't know, I'm on Skype. That's face to face.
Yeah.
There you go. I was just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
There's also another one that's for iPhones that's FaceTime.
Yep.
That also has face-to-face.
Peter?
Doing my woodworking.
Doing your woodworking. So again, hobbies, talents, skills. Peter?
Me, I don't know the first thing about computers.
Okay.
I don't even have one, so I put everything on the computer.
You're saving enough uptime.
Yeah. So, alternatively to that, if you don't have social media to testify on your behalf, what would your closest friend say that that you would share with him most frequently?
I'd say Peter loves carpentry.
He loves carpentry.
I like help people.
Really help you. Awesome.
I just say that as a
Yeah, you were telling me that.
And he's doing good communication generally.
We have a hero in our midst here. Peter is a volunteer firefighter, if you want to call him that, right? Well, I don't know if you fought the fire, but you definitely dragged your
Guy up from,
your friend and
guy down the hall.
house flatmate. Awesome. I'm gonna carry on now into the next part of the talk. So we have witnesses in action. That's again, I like to play on words. So witnesses in action is being like the 12 witnesses in the Gospels, originally known as the 12 disciples. I have in my hand here. Peter, are you back with the candy?
Yeah.
Chocolate this time is more important. More on the line. I'm hoping we can get all 12. Okay? All 12 disciples. Some what? Okay, we'll slow it down a bit here.
Peter, Matthew.
The reward system.
John, Peter.
Matthew.
One. John. All right, you got John. Cross that off my list here.
Mark.
Andrew. Yep.
Paul. There you go. Nope.
Matthew, Mark, Judas.
Matthew over here. Judas. One. Yep.
Is Peter?
Luke. Oh, Luke's not one of them.
You get Peter?
Oh, Simon? Yeah, Simon Peter.
Simon Peter. Simon Peter. Right there. Luke took someone's experiences and wrote for them. He didn't write. He wasn't right because he was disciples.
John?
You already said John? Bartholomew, hey, in the back.
Oh.
That's word 2.
If you want to come over here, I can throw it to you.
That's word 2. That's a hard one.
Somebody said
I can
Simon.
throw you right there.
Somebody said Simon.
The one that kind, the one that.
There's actually 2 Simons. So if someone says
Give her
Simon-
2.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Well, did you say it first? Oh, you can throw it that way.
Yeah, I heard it over there.
Who said it? Steven?
Thomas. Thomas is there. One for Thomas though.
The one
All
that
right.
denied
Just give her
Jesus
the
or
bag.
denied God?
Trying to think. I
The
got,
one that was non-believer.
We've got Simon Peter. We've got Andrew.
Thomas.
We've got James,
Nobody said it.
John, Bartholomew,
Oh, no.
Thomas, Matthew,
Mark.
both Simons. So Simon Peter and Simon the Zealot. And we've got Judas. We're missing number 10
Barnabas.
and number 9.
You should put numbered on them.
We've got John. I got the numbers.
Yeah, we should put numbered on those.
Well, yeah, I could have. I can't quite digitally
You could have in the picture.
get my laser pointer here or something.
There's a-
There we go, number 9.
And number.
Paul is not a disciple.
Nope.
Not a disciple.
One that denied gave Jesus away.
No.
One that gave Jesus away, I can't think of his name.
No, we're good. All right, I think we're done. There's actually 2 Jameses, so it's a trick question. There's 2 of them. Gotta know James, the brother of John, and there's another James.
Well,
So I get the chocolate for that. Slow that one down. All right. The other one is Thaddeus. Never heard of that? I was gonna give away 2 chocolates if someone got that one. That one totally just a rare one. It's mentioned in the book of Matthew. Right. So there are 12
Oh, they're Hershey.
witnesses. Huh? James. The last 3 that I have, what we're missing was James and Thaddeus were the 2 we're missing. Thaddeus.
Never heard of him.
So,
is that it?
no. That's number 2.
Now we're doing
Just grab like 3 chocolates because the next test is worth that one. All right, so little descriptor there. A disciple is a follower of Jesus, and in the New Testament, disciple and apostle are kind of thrown in. Not quite mutually, but they are used a lot. And so I just wanted to clarify what the difference was between a disciple and an apostle. A disciple was a follower of Jesus. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John talk about the followers of Jesus, those 12 men that followed Jesus through the course of his life and that witnessed his death and his resurrection. In Acts, we have a new term, and this is apostle. Now there are 12 apostles. Now Judas, when he betrayed Jesus, he actually took his own life. So in Acts 1, they had to replace the 12th apostle. So that's my bonus question. Is can anyone name the replacement? There were 120 people at the time that had witnessed Jesus' death and resurrection. There were 12, of the main followers. Judas betrayed, he left and ended up taking his own life. There's still 120 close followers that actually were witnesses to Jesus' return, and resurrection from the dead, and seeing him alive again after he was crucified. So there were 120 applications that the other 11 disciples had to go through to choose a replacement. Anyone take notes? Barnabas? No. Barnabas appeared a little bit later in Acts. Paul appeared a little bit later in Acts. He's often accredited the title of apostle, but he doesn't meet the criteria, actually. Because the criteria is having witnessed the resurrection of Christ. Paul was saved, on the road to Damascus. That was about 3 years after Christ's resurrection and ascension. So he doesn't quite meet the initial requirement. Requirement number 2 was that they were chosen by the Holy Spirit. So at Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit came down visibly upon the 12, they were chosen then to start the church and be the foundation for the church. In Revelation, it talks about them being cornerstones of the foundation that was building the church. And they also performed signs and wonders, and I'll talk about it a little bit later. And we have no guesses for the...
John?
No, John was one of the original 12, and he transferred in as one of the apostles in that way. Yes, you can have a chocolate because even though you know the answer. Magnus is the answer, yes. My wife actually was there when I was looking at this. See, you know, sometimes it pays to sit on the side or the. So there are actually two people that were chosen, Justus and Matthias, and they prayed about it, and they used the system of, I don't know if it was straws or lots, to determine who was the choice, and they ended up choosing Matthias, and he was elected into the 12, and not part of the original group, but what? I don't know, you want to randomly hand you a chocolate. There's lots left. I'll put them in a bowl later and people can have them. Take one for the middle.
I'll take 2. I'll take 5. I'll take
So, the 12 apostles then, referring to the ones who were sent, and they were sent then to spread the good news. Jesus, before he left them in the end of Matthew, says, I want you to go, out. I want you to go to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the ends of the earth, telling people what I have told you, showing them what I have shown you, and doing wonders that I have done. And he gives them that command at the end of Matthew. And in Acts, we see them spreading this. Now, the term we have, our term gospel, we get the term good news, is from the Greek word, if I pronounce it correctly, remember in my Greek from my Bible school days, it's euangelion. And this word was actually commonly used when there was a decree made by the king, or made even to the king. The messenger would say, euangelion, euangelion. Maybe it's our troops have won in battle, whether it's to, maybe pronounce the birth of, a descendant of the king or a son of the king. Anything that was good news was heralded by this word of euangelion. It's actually used 74 times in the New Testament to refer to the spreading of good news, and it's used about 54 times to describe the people that are sharing it. So the messenger, if you will, and the message being good news. Now, typically, when we talk about the gospel or the good news, we're actually referring to those first four books of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And those are, the recorded stories and testimonies and what those, Matthew, Mark, and John, were eyewitnesses. Luke was using Peter, his eyewitness testimonies, compiled them, and wrote about the story of Jesus, his life, his death, his resurrection, and what it means for us is the good news. And in Acts, there are several testimonies by Peter and Paul specifically. We're going to look at one of Peter's testimonies. In a second, I'll leave that up there. You can read that as I read my notes here. Peter spoke several times. First to the crowds at Pentecost. When the Holy Spirit first came down upon the 12, he spoke to the crowds that formed. And when he spoke and gave a message similar to this, 3,000 people heard the message and received it and were saved. He then spoke to the crowds at the temple. And when he spoke, it was 5,000 people that heard the message and accepted it. And then he spoke to the Sanhedrin, and this is his conversation with the leaders. Literally, they went through all of Jerusalem. If you look, it's, first just in the crowds, and then to the temple or a place of worship, and then to the leaders. There were no groups that were excluded of hearing this good news. It was all walks of life. First, these first three were just the Jews alone. Next, he went to Samaria, where Jesus had been, not even, a few years ago, talking with that Samaritan woman. Philip was sent, and he shared the good news to those people in Samaria, who Jewish people wouldn't have been, considered worthy of this good news. And yet Philip was sent to share with them. And then Peter and Paul went to the Gentiles. And now if the Samaritans were considered unworthy, Gentiles were a step below that, because Samaritans had some kinship with the Jews. I mean, they were distant cousins. They had some relations, even though they weren't well respected. They were kind of cousins. Gentiles were, completely disregarded by Jewish people. And in fact, that got them in trouble. It got Peter and Paul in trouble with the leaders in Jerusalem. When they were sharing it with Gentiles, they're like, what are you doing? What are you doing sharing this message? And Peter and Paul had to convince them this good news was, as Christ said, for everyone. Acts 4, 8-12. And Peter, filled with the Holy Spirit, replied, rulers and people and elders, if we are being examined today, what happens previously is that they heal someone. And the leaders are questioning how these what seem like ordinary men are doing miraculous things. And he said, if we are being examined for doing a good deed done to a sick man. He's like, this is a problem. Why is this happening? Why are you getting so upset? And we're healing people. And we're bringing, both a physical and a spiritual healing to people by proclaiming good news. And he's saying, if you're trying to understand why this man was healed, or by what means, I want to let you know. He said, I want to testify today, and to all the people of Israel, that it's by the name of Jesus Christ, the Nazarene. And they would have known that name. This isn't years later. This is just you know, months later after the crucifixion, said, who you crucified, whom God raised from the dead, this man stands before you healthy. That's why this man stands before you healthy. Jesus is the stone that was rejected by you, the builders, and has become the cornerstone. And there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given among by which people we must be saved. Peter, your question?
Wasn't Peter the one that denied Jesus? I think sometime around his crucifixion.
Yeah, just before his crucifixion, yes. Peter was one who was impulsive in his nature. And as he walked with Jesus, you see less and less of that impulsivity. You see God working on him. And there's actually a saying that Simon in Hebrew or Aramaic, kind of the word Simon kind of sounds like sand, kind of like shifty. And the word Peter, which Christ gave him, he said, you're not going to be called Simon anymore. You're going to be called Peter. You're going to be called the Rock. And I'm going to build my church on you. He was saying that Peter would get this boldness, you know, that he would get, you know, for being indecisive or being impulsive and you know, being able to be torn and tossed, you know, by the waves, and literally when he was trying to walk on water. But that he would become this rock. And so you see this transformation, and it's primarily in Acts where you see the character of Peter change from this shifty person that, you know, that denies Christ.
So did Peter go and tell these people like himself, or did Jesus tell them to do this?
Well, Jesus is ascended to heaven, so he's no longer in the picture at this point.
So Peter did this.
Peter and the 12, were sent out, and they were, you know, as they were. Peter spent a lot of time in Jerusalem in his ministry. He did travel elsewhere, but predominantly the ministry of these 12 witnesses started in Jerusalem. Peter's ministry, like I said, moved from Jerusalem, you know, the first crowds, the Sanhedrin here, and then he does actually get sent to speak with Gentiles. And that's actually wasn't his idea. God actually had a conversation with him saying that the message, my message is for the Gentiles. So Jesus actually convinced him in a dream that it was to the Gentiles too. Paul didn't have that difficulty. Paul's ministry to the Gentiles is one that we are well aware of in the New Testament, and he wrote 12 epistles to all of the churches all throughout the Gentile world, stretching as far almost to Spain is where Paul was headed when he was captured and imprisoned in Rome. So this is this spread. I have a little video to talk about that in a second. So this is the good news. This message that Jesus had died and was rose again, and in exchange for us, was the message that they all were willing to witness to all to testify to, and all but one pay the ultimate price for their witness. 11 of them were killed and martyred for being witnesses to this good news. Now, normally we don't think about people dying when they're sharing good news, but it's the opposition to the political structures that were set up to keep people, in poverty and enslaved, and just, there was power associated with the religious systems that were in that day. These Sanhedrin were one of the wealthiest in society because they were the upholders of the law. they were teachers of the law, they got paid to teach it, they got paid to interpret it, and they got paid to enforce it. When there was a dispute among people, you would call a leader, a Sanhedrin or a Pharisee, to interpret the law for you to see who was right and if there was an error. So they were making a living or an income on a system. And when the good news was being preached about Jesus, it was upsetting the apple cart. It was world changing, and they were part of that older system, and they weren't willing to change. So as a result, these 11 were some were crucified. Peter was crucified upside down. Some of them were beheaded, stoned, for spreading the message of good news. And John was the only one that was actually exiled to an island. That was his punishment. He didn't actually have a severe punishment. The Isle of Patmos that he was sent to for the remainder of his days. So he really was alone and isolated. He couldn't tell anybody else the good news. But he was still writing a bit when he was there. So I have a short video here to explain the difference that these 12 witnesses made. You'll see the white, that is the spread of the good news. The green? The green is the Islam, the spread of the Muslim faith, and the red is the Roman Empire. So it started in the day when Christianity was in the time of Jesus at about 3 or I think they started at 20 AD. The Mongolian Empire. Sorry, it's the keyboard that's blocking my. I was set up for Friday's concert and it's Does anyone have questions about the video?
Communism was presented as a faith.
Yes, communism.
Sorry, the Roman Empire, which is also not necessarily.
Yeah, well, not in necessarily in a faith, but in a as a political entity, it restricts the expression of freedom of religion. So in those areas, yeah, maybe I'll swap just disconnect here. Excellent. Much better. So yeah, there's some elements there, but you add, to make the video a little more concise, you have this spread from Jerusalem out into Rome, and then you have it, you have the Dark Ages where you see it rescind back almost a little bit, and then you have another explosion. Another, as other systems come in and other conflicts arise, you have, it's really quick, so you kind of see a little bit of the Crusades happening back and forth there, but you see throughout history, the gospel message, the good news has endured. Not only has it endured, but it's spread to nearly the entire face of the planet. And that was because of, originally, you had 12 witnesses. So I have a question, and this may not be applicable to everyone, but how did you first hear this good news? Born into it. Okay. Many of us might have that similar experience. Michael?
You were referred to by
A friend. A friend told you a little bit about the good news. Awesome. School?
Yeah.
You went to a school that a Christian school? A Catholic school. Oh, awesome.
I
Peter?
lived by a different place. I lived at all the different churches.
Places that you lived in, they took you or brought you to church?
Yeah, every place I lived
Oh, every place. Peter?
As a kid, I was brought up in Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
but as I got older, I got brought up into Christian, Free Methodist.
Okay. Summer camp. All right, that's a different one. Summer camp.
Mine was actually, my family was Catholic, but we didn't practice, and it wasn't actually a personal relationship with Jesus, but probably the first time I actually heard the good news was a bus ministry that we went to a gospel hall, and we had a Friday night, and then we would go on Sundays too, but the bus would come around and pick up the kids in our neighborhood, and it was really exciting.
Awesome. It was like bus ministry. Is it like written on the side of the bus? But no, you're saying it picks up people and
Yeah.
transports them, and all the kids in the neighborhood. All right. Anyone else? Awesome. So we have several areas in it nowadays. None of you said social media. I'm shocked. So I want to move into the last part of my talk. I'm running out of time. It's 11 o'clock. Oh my goodness. All right. Quickly. Main point I want to leave you with is that your life's testimony is the word on the street. To be mindful that what you are sharing with people is important. Are you sharing with them trivial, meaningless, blithy opinions, expressions, or are you sharing with them things that are good news, things that are life-changing, things that are life-building? I'm going to end with a video, and this is a pretty powerful testimony. I found it on a website called IamSecond.com. A lot of them are really, really long, but I chose a shorter one, and I hope that it will make my point today about being a witness and what a witness is.
My story begins kind of like it's a fish out of water story. Even though I was born in South Central LA, my particular story starts 20 minutes outside of that in the San Gabriel Valley in West Covina, La Punta area. So I grew up in like all Mexican, like super violent neighborhood. I didn't even know it was as dangerous as it was. I just thought that that's just how people live. My neighbor's house became a crack house. I didn't know that. I just knew they didn't turn on the electricity. And I thought it was like camping. Like they cook with candles, but crack. I was the one black kid being teased because of my color, getting chased home, getting banged on. I'm walking home like, where you from, me? I'm like, and I recognize homie, like, I'm like, Paco, man, like, I live 2 streets from you. What are you talking about? And then even when we got to the suburbs, even there, again, like, that was a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood, and we were the poor kids that just moved in, and just these weird black people that spoke Spanish, you know what I'm saying? And like, they didn't get us. And even down the street at the church we went to, for some reason, I was getting convicted. Like, I feel like God has split the roof open and is talking to me directly. But the guys that were my age, I remember them not being affected at all. But it would just trip me out because, like, I felt like nobody else felt like that. But in my mind, it went back to just the same way I grew up. Well, I've been the only my whole life. So if I'm going to be the only here, I'll be the only there. Meanwhile, church service, I was never missing. Mama made me take notes to see if I was listening. But I lived among the Mexicans, so I never did the Crip thing. Instead, they gave me cans to write my name up on the bricks thing. All the while God was training me to hear his voice. Because only he knew that I would soon make a choice. I was this tagger, / rapper, son of a Black Panther. And they got high hopes for him. He gonna be a pastor. So should he run with the church boys, the backpackers and thugs? And it's funny. It seemed like the Lord's answer was all of the above. I like to say that I was slow cooked, in that I would say it started in 6th grade and then culminated my junior year, examining just my experience in life and just always, again, feeling like I don't belong. Whether I was born the wrong color, in the wrong neighborhood, in the wrong decade, to the wrong parents, like all this, like I'm just not an alpha male who's an artist. Like I would draw all the time. I wrote poetry, come on now, you know what I'm saying? So I think there was a moment when my father finally pointed to a particular passage, Psalms 139, before you in the womb I knew you. He said, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows well. And I think that it was there that I realized that my value is not determined by some particular innate quality that I have. No, your value is because God was willing to pay the cost of his son for you. That's the price he's willing to pay for you. But it cost me personally nothing. That all this was on purpose. Everything you are, your whole goulash of experiences and gifts, all the scars, every hurt, every failure, being spit on walking home, like all this, it's on purpose. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You're exactly what I want you to be. You was looking at a last born, rightful heir to the throne, son of a nobody with poverty in my bones, and that's beautiful. To me, it never had nothing, but nothing was sufficient. It kept my belly full of the stuff the rich was missing, and that's beautiful. My mama used to say, don't nothing God do go to waste. And I'm seeing that happen in my life. When I started rapping full time, doing poetry full time, being so comfortable, you know, among Mexicans, being able to identify with their struggle. I know what it means, like I get it, you know what I'm saying? Like I speak the language, I know the slang, I know the pit bulls, I know all that. I feel like my run has been a proclamation of that truth, that like my plot didn't make me, the Creator did. So in honor of Jimi Hendrix, I string my life instrument backwards. Choose to play the back because in the word last is first, and that's beautiful. Like the pain and every scar you got. I prefer to call them life tattoos. The masterpieces. They're beautiful. The most intimate and personal way to say this. Christ has given me personally. My name is Jason Petty, aka Propaganda. I am second.
Challenge time. I won't miss it this time. Those who are followers of Jesus, I implore you to study the example of the first witnesses in Acts chapters 1 to 4. And I think we can choose to be a witness, a living testimony of the good news, taking our propaganda set there, our experiences, our struggles, the ups and downs, the scars can be like these tattoos that we witness, that we testify of the power that is in the gospel. Those who do not claim to follow Jesus, the good news is for you. You can take a look in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and you can ask someone to share their story, to share their testimony with you. There is soup. It is always good. I have a list here for people that want to sign up for the following weeks to ensure that we have soup for the next Sundays to follow. I'm just going to say a quick prayer, and we can enjoy the soup and conversations.
There's
3 different kinds.
Squash and lentil.
Thank you, Lord, for the squash, and lentil soup. And thank you, Lord, for the people that are here. We know that things don't happen by accident. And the people that are here this morning, we're here because they're part of our community and you wanted them to be here. And I thank you for each and every one. And I thank you for this food. May we enjoy it, and may we enjoy the conversation. May we enjoy sharing our testimonies, and may they testify of good news.